welcome back. Oh, I feel a little bit nervous. I've got some things in the room here that if anyone has seen any of my videos, you will understand that these are a bone of contention. I absolutely love candles. I adore them. But we have this strange relationship, so these candles will not feature all the way through this video, just to let you know. Now, I have a little update on the candle situation. Not only did I burn my planner sheet, burnt stroke singed, a week later when I was filming my last video about my typewriter Joan, I had a couple of candles burning in the room. They are over the top of the fireplace, and the TV sits above the fireplace on the wall. I didn't think anything of it. I absolutely adore these candles. When you actually light the flame, they then light up these gorgeous fairy lights. Absolutely stunning. And I have them burning on in the background because I really like the aroma. After I'd finished filming, I blew the candles out. The next day, I then sat down and I then watched my favourite film, which is going to feature in this week's video. And I noticed that there was something very, very strange about the TV. Well, you guessed it. I've melted the TV a little bit. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this. So, as you can see, there is now an eternal flame straight scorch mark in our less than 1 year old TV. I'm going to be known as like the planner girl that is also the fire starter. Yeah, so I've melted the TV. I will admit, I looked at the TV screen. I didn't know what to do. This telly that is actually not even a year old, for goodness sake. I burnt an under-year-old telly. Now, I hadn't used my brain and removed the candle from underneath the TV, so the candle was quite literally in situ underneath the goddamn bit that I've melted. My husband goes over and he touches the bottom of the screen. Yeah, he worked out quite quickly that someone who likes candles may have melted the TV a little bit. So, yeah. We'll leave that now. I'm now about to move on. If anyone would like to maybe fund a GoFundMe for maybe a fire training, or I'm sure my husband would quite like a non-melted TV, comment down below if you'd like to support the GoFundMe, which of course isn't real, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm going to start off with a little bit of a haul, and then I will go on and explain the film, my favourite film, by the way, that is going to inspire this week's spread. Lurpak Spreadable. So, I have brought some beautiful pieces this week. So, no, I have not brought a Louis Vuitton purse. This is my Louis Vuitton purse that I was gifted by my husband, but I just wanted to feature this in. Now, I do love Louis Vuitton. This is the only piece that I own. I carry £1 in here, so when I go to Iceland, I've always got £1 to go in the trolley. How odd, you know, it's like, here's a Louis Vuitton, and there I am then saying I go to Lidl's in Iceland. But, you know, we've all got to be a bit extra sometimes. I love the history around Louis Vuitton. I love the glamour that is associated with it. Then, on the old Instagram, I saw a couple of posts of some sellers that one of them I have brought from before, periodically, bits and pieces, and then from another seller that I haven't actually bought from, but they lured me in with this design. Now, I need to make this very, very clear from the get-go. These items are not sold as Louis Vuitton. They are in no way associated with the brand. However, the styling is inspired by. So I just want to make that very, very clear, okay? These are inspired by, and they are in no way associated with the brand. They're not affiliated, anything, okay? This first beautiful divider here is by Helen Richardson Handmade. I'm just going to grab the old trusty phone and just Google. No, I'm going to Instagram Helen Richardson Handmade. There she is, look, and that's her grid. Now, let me see. Boom. That was the piece, look, hearted already, that inspired me. And I was like, you can see I've made a comment on here. Oh, my phone is dirty. Let's give that a clean. There we go. And I was like, oh, yes, I need that. I need that in my life. And Helen makes these all by hand. They're absolutely beautiful. So I was like, Helen, it's a must. And then Helen and I actually had a very brief conversation about Louis Vuitton. And it was a lovely little chat. Then, of course, the old algorithms on Instagram. Because you know what it's like? You type something in, you search it on Google, next thing you know, your Facebook feed and your Instagram feed is like, oh, we think you might like this. Yeah, of course I will like that, because you knew that's what I searched. Then, this post come blaring up at me. Oh, we won't find out, because my battery's just died. So, my battery died, so I can't show you the post. Great, I'm so professional. And there are these stunning washi tapes. Now, they actually come as a pack of 5. There were some other designs, but I will admit I brought the pack of 5 specifically just for these washi, and I have then sent the other 2 washi as a random act of kindness this week to hopefully make somebody feel a little bit happy. I'm not going to mention the lady's name. She may watch my videos, I'm not sure, but I hope that they make you happy. Oh dear, look at these. Can you see? Oh, probably should have been a bit clever and taken the tape off, but we've got the beautiful, see, look at that. So, that's the Louis Vuitton moment. And then I have this beautiful kit called Petals, and this is going to be this week's spread that I'm going to do. Now don't worry, Joan is currently behind me. Joan is rather large and in charge and takes up a large area on my desk, but Joan will be making an appearance, she will be a part of it. Now this week's spread is going to be Petals. And it has been inspired by my most favourite film, The Help.
The Help. H-E-L-P.
I love The Help. It has been a film that sits in my heart. I love the characters. I love the storyline. Now, the film itself is based off a book, and the book was written by Catherine Sockett. Catherine originally wrote the novel in 2009. The film itself follows some very, very powerful characters. It follows the lives of Skeeter.
I got a job today, writing for the Jackson Journal.
Great.
Aibileen.
Does this dress look handmade?
I reckon when you finish it won't.
Thank you.
Millie.
Minnie? Hey, Aibileen. Hey, Minnie.
Mm-hmm.
Celia.
Hey.
And Hilly.
I've drafted the Home Health Sanitation Initiative,
The what?
a bill that requires every white home to have a separate bathroom for the help.
To name a few. I have painted my nails this beautiful red because I got the inspiration from Celia. The story itself is so heartwarming, and it just highlights that change is absolutely possible. It takes a brave few people to do it, and those people, they often, at the time, they lose many things, and it won't be popular, and change doesn't happen straight away. Absolutely not. I don't know of anything in history that has changed overnight. It takes a long time to change ingrained opinions. I am planning for the week commencing the 1st of March. Can you believe it? We're in March. Well, of course you can believe it. You've been in lockdown the same as everybody else. Days drag, but all of a sudden we're in March. I have taken some white out and I've done the top on here. I'm going to carry on talking about the film because I don't feel when I do my plan with me's I need to talk too much about what I'm doing. We all know how to stick down stickers. I don't claim to be the most creative person. I don't necessarily make, you know, huge inspiring spreads.
Lurpak spreadable.
I just do what I like. The film itself starts off with a character called Skeeter, and Skeeter is a young woman and she has an interest in journalism and is very clearly bucking the trend because she wants to write a piece, and she initially gets a job in a newspaper and she gets a job answering domestic queries. You know, how would you get red wine out of something? Well, of course, she was of the generation where the families had the help. Now, the help, or the maids that worked in these predominantly white homes, were African American women. So, of course, Skeeter herself would genuinely have no idea.
When I'm chopping onions, how do I keep tears out of my eyes?
Shoot, that's easy. You tell her to hold a matchstick between her teeth.
Is it lit?
No, ma'am.
The story goes that she would have gone to her maid to ask questions. However, when she returns home, her maid is no longer there. You don't find out what happens to her maid until later on in the story. So she approaches another maid called Aibileen, and initially she asks Maybelline for help to be able to help her answer the questions. This then becomes a friendship and it goes beyond, and Skeeter asks Aibileen, is there any more maids? You know, because they talk about Abileen's life and how she became a maid. And
I want to interview you about what it's like to work as a maid. I'd like to do a book of interviews about working for white families. We could show what it's like to work for, say, Elizabeth.
You know what Miss Leafold do to me if she knew I was telling stories on her?
Well, I was thinking that we wouldn't have to tell her.
you know, there's parts of Abileen's story, and I'm choking up. Oh, second time I've choked up in a video, and it's sad. It is sad.
I reckon I'm ready to talk about Miss Leafold now. Baby girl still gotta wear a diaper when she sleep at night. And don't get changed till I get there in the morning. That about 10 hours she gotta sleep in her mess. Miss Leafold should not be having babies. Write that down.
And they need to find more stories. And so Aibileen gets her best friend, Minnie. And Minnie, boy.
You and they told me what y'all was up to. I didn't want to believe it.
Is Minnie a character? And they talk about a lot of the experiences that they've had. And so initially the maids would work for these young women's mothers, and then they would then become the maids of these children that they brought up.
And how we love they cheering when they little. And then they turn out just like they mamas.
You know, that they would nurse these children. They would literally do everything from the day they were born. They would run the house, and then when those children then became of age and moved out into their own homes and things, they then became their maids. I mean, what a... In the story, some maids say that some of the people, you know, who they were maids for, you know, looked after them. I'm not going to go as far as to say as respected them. It was always going to be a professional relationship, but not everybody was as horrible as, say, Hilly.
Miss Hilly.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind.
You go on ahead and use the inside bath, Minnie. It's all right.
Oh, for crying out loud, it's just a little rain. She can go on up and get an umbrella from William's study.
I believe she was working for me before you dragged us both here.
I'm just gonna get your tea.
Minnie.
Minnie, are you in there?
Yes, ma'am.
And just what are you doing?
Get off my toilet! Oh! You are fired, Minnie Jackson!
Now, as they start to write more and more about these stories, Skeeter is looking to publish this as a book. So, you know, they need to get more stories from more maids. Well, this was a very, very risky thing to do. The maid's set to lose far more than what Skeeter ever will. Now, there is a part where Minnie turns round and says, well, we're going to need some kind of insurance.
Maybe we need us some insurance.
That the people that we are telling you about will never admit that it's about them, and thus they won't then pursue us. Because they're not going to want to admit that these stories that the maids are telling are about them. Well, Minnie talks about the terrible, awful that she did to Miss Hilly. And it involves pie.
Sorry. I need to tell y'all about the terrible, awful I done to Miss Hilly.
Oh, pie's as good as always, Minnie.
I'm glad you like it.
What do you put in here that makes it taste so good?
That good vanilla from Mexico. And something else real special. That's Miss Hilly's special pie.
Go get a plate.
Eat my shit.
What'd you say?
I said, eat my shit.
Have you lost your mind?
No, ma'am. But you about to. 'Cause you just did.
Now, Minnie in the community was known for her amazing pie. And when these women would go to their bridge clubs and this kind of stuff, Hilly would always bring Minnie's pie. You know, it was... Minnie at one point was one of the maids that these women would want in their homes. And they have the bridge club, and they, you know, and then they have the high society, and they pay lip service, you know, that they do this charity ball. And they want to be able to give money to, I can't remember exactly what it was. It's something to do with African children or something in Africa. I've kind of skipped a part in the film. Well, anyway, so Minnie does this terrible, awful on Hilly after she has fired her. Now, Minnie needs to find a new job, and Hilly has unfortunately blacklisted her name, and there are now no high society women that will take on Minnie. Minnie's home life is not great. It hints towards domestic violence. And she is desperate to find her job. Desperate to find a job because her husband has now forced Minnie's daughter into this lifestyle of becoming a maid. And Minnie is terrified. Minnie would prefer, you know, her daughter to go on and be educated and to stop the cycle of becoming a maid. And Minnie eventually finds herself a job with who is affectionately known as Miss Celia. Now, Celia has a connection to Hilary. I'm not going to spoil it for you. And the bond between Celia and Minnie Minnie almost kind of like steps into a mothering role and teaches Celia about cooking, and Celia, you know, has a secret. She doesn't want her husband to know that she has a maid, and so they have to play this cat and mouse game, and Minnie for a while, you know, thinks she's landed on her foot because, you know, Celia's like, no, you can't be here before 9 and you must leave. I can't remember what she says. I think she says before 4. It might even be 3 or something else. And of course, you know, Minnie finds that very, very strange. Celia has never hired a maid before, and Minnie tries to teach her about how a maid and the employer should act. And there's a scene where she attempts to go to the bridge club, and she's got Minnie's pie in her hand, and of course the terrible awful that has happened, and Hilly is just mortified even more because she thinks that Celia is just, you know, rubbing this in her face. Poor Celia goes home, she's devastated, you know, all she wants is to be a part of this high class society, and she doesn't understand why. And Minnie then reveals to her why she cannot take these pies again.
So Miss Hilly thought you knew about the terrible awful, that you was making fun of her. It's my fault she pounced on you. If you leave Mr. Johnny, and Miss Hilly done won the whole ball game. Then she done beaten me, and she done beat you.
Thank you for telling me that.
Thank you for telling me? Because she's just like, oh my God, I now know not to mess with Minnie because the terrible awful. Ooh wee. Oh, she meant it. But it did give them insurance. It did give them insurance because Hilly was hell-bent on never letting out what happened. And, you know, you can see her character start to deteriorate when this book gets published and more people read it. And there's a scene where she's in bed and she just sits up and she screams because she realises that it's her. She cannot allow people to know of the terrible awful that, you know, Minnie did on her. And she is like, the book is not about Jackson. And she is absolutely then on a campaign to make sure that nobody ever thinks that it is Jackson the hometown. Now, unfortunately, in the end, Hilly manages to ensure that Aibileen is sacked from her job, and it's very, very sad. And there is a scene where, third time in a row, where Aibileen has to say goodbye to this beautiful little girl that she's been looking after.
Don't go, baby.
Baby, you need to get back to bed.
Please don't leave.
I got to, baby. I am so sorry.
Oh, heartbreaking. Aibileen is so brave at standing up to Hilly in that moment. So brave. And then there's a scene later on where they're in the church and Minnie and Aibileen go running into the church and they're all clapping, and Aibileen starts clapping and she's like, you know, who are we clapping? And it's like, you.
Who are we clapping for?
We clapping for you.
And they acknowledge just how brave Aibileen was. And there is an amazing piece that the pastor says in the church prior to this, which inspires Aibileen to go ahead and talk to Miss Skeeter about what had happened. And it's something that's always stuck with me. I'm going to include it in here. I don't want to talk about religion or politics on camera, because that could set people off in the comments below, and you know, let's not get into that. We all have our personal opinions. But what he actually said I found very, very inspiring.
See, courage isn't just about being brave. Courage is daring to do what is right in spite of the weakness of our flesh.
And then I just love, there's a scene at the end, towards the end, and Celia writes a check to Hilly, and on the check it says, and you just have to watch it to, you know, to kind of like get the joke. It's just so beautiful. I absolutely love it. And it's one of those films that, although there's emotional bits, I can keep watching it again and again and again and again, and I'm just so inspired by it. So my red nail polish is for Celia, and this beautiful kit, Petals, with this particular tea dress, and the styling reflects, you know, that Marilyn Monroe period, the beautiful outfit, how everybody was so polished, and so that's why this kit has gone on. This kit is from Grace at Oodle-Ma-Doodles. So if anyone would like to get hold of this kit, I have a new code with Oodle-Ma-Doodles, and it's thank you. It's just pure and simply thank you. So if this spread has inspired you to potentially watch the film or buy this absolutely beautiful layout, just enter in on Etsy in the code box and just put in thank you. So here's the spread. I am now about to, well, I'd already done this before, I'd sped everything up. I'm now about to speed everything up again so you can see all the typewriter part. I'm going to be typewriting on Joan. I'm going to be doing that after I have picked up my son and just run a couple of errands. In YouTube land, that will be about... So, I'm back. Candle is lit. I figured that they say things come in threes, so planner burnt, arm burnt, TV burnt, I should be done. Joan's ready for the off. Planner is ready for the off. You're now going to watch this in a really, really fast motion with lovely music. And I've also got some Tipp-Ex paper ready and primed to go. See you on the other side. Joan has... this isn't going very well for me. Oh dear. Joan has helped to produce my first spread. She types absolutely beautifully. You may have noticed, maybe not, when I was typing, that I've posted off some letters. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I've also wrote a letter to Joan. I typed out the letter to Joan, on Joan. I'm now about to tag on the end of this video this week's winner. While I'm filming this, I have no idea who the winner is, because obviously I'm not drawing it until Friday the 5th at 9 PM. I will contact the winner on Saturday to let them know before the video goes up that they have won. Congratulations to the winner. I hope you like your prize. I hope you like this week's video. I hope that you'll keep tuning in, because like I say, there'll be plenty of updates to come. So, thank you very much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you and be making another spread soon. Bye. I don't know what the word is. Not in... I think the postman's now about to stick something through the door. Something's just landed. Yeah, there's the dog. I'll be back. This also allows for time, say if, because...